Mums with Hustle podcast, episode 541.
Welcome to the Mums with Hustle podcast, where you'll discover everyday mum entrepreneurs killing it in their industry. Learn the secrets you can replicate to create your own success with your host, Tracy Harris.
If you've ever felt like you've taken a few steps forward and now it's like you've taken even more steps back, or if you felt like you've made some really bold business moves and you were so proud of that, and now maybe days, maybe a few weeks later, it can almost feel like it's all catching up with you and you're just kind of questioning what you're even doing. Or maybe you've hit some significant milestones in your business and maybe you've had a really big creative urge and you were so motivated and you were so positive and you were following through and you were doing all the things. And then it almost feels like, oh, now we've slipped. Now we've regressed. What's going on? Why am I in a funk? What is this melancholy? What's going on? Why am I comparing myself to others, or whatever the situation might be? Sometimes it can feel like we're on top of the world, like everything is going right. And then as soon as that starts to happen, whoa, you're like hit with a whammy, like things are breaking. There are people exiting out of your world. All of a sudden you're met with challenge. Like, what is that? Have you ever had any of these experiences? What I want to talk about, because I just recently coached a high-level female in business on this very concept, is that this is polarity. So the universe, the entire universe, is created with opposites. We've got night, we've got day, we've got heat, we've got cold, we've got the North Pole, the South Pole, like quite literally everything exists with its opposite. Where we've got strengths, those strengths also carry a shadow side, or they hold vulnerabilities or a dark side to them. So the universe exists with opposites. Now we need to know that, because we need to expect that when we're growing our business. For every positive that we experience, or for any positive momentum or creative urge that we have, the pendulum, if you can picture this like a pendulum, the pendulum is always going to swing back to the other side, which is times where you don't have creative urges, or times where you're not feeling the most inspired and energized, or times where things are breaking and it's not all smooth sailing, or times where you are super confident and then the pendulum swings, and like maybe in that season of confidence, you take really bold, aligned, visionary action. But we don't remain in that state, okay? We need to expect that the pendulum is going to swing, and we're going to have these times where we almost feel like being the exact opposite. We feel like hiding. We do doubt ourselves. Like, it does not matter how long you've been in business, what you've experienced in growing your business, any level of success that you've achieved. None of us escapes this swinging pendulum. Why? Because the universe is created with opposites. What I want to share with you is that it is so important to not make big, bold decisions when that pendulum has swung into, I guess, the old self. That's what it is. It's the old self trying to creep back in. Versus when that pendulum swings to the other side, where you are, maybe you connect with the phrase highest self, future self, true self, future self, right? I think I said that. When that pendulum is swinging there, that's great. That's where you want to be making your actions and your decisions from that place. Not from the temporary, because it's temporary, stage or phase of that pendulum being in that lower frequency or lower vibration or not self theme. that place of fear, that place of lack, that place of doubt, that place of comparison. We all have that. So know that. Don't judge yourself for it. You can anticipate it, but what you can also anticipate is that the pendulum will swing back to that highest self, truest self, aligned self, future self, whatever you want to call it. It always swings back. And you know this because you have experienced this. For every high, there's always a low. You know, for every summer, there's always a winter. We know this, but we forget it in business. So I'm here just to reflect that back to you after I had that call with this private client. And if you can, just wait it out. Don't make decisions when you're in that low. Wait it out. Expect that it's going to swing the other way. And if you can, here's a challenge, and it feels really hard in the moment. That's why I'm calling it a challenge. If you are in that low, if you can remember when you've been that future self state, when you've been that higher self state, and if you can say to yourself, what would the version of me who is unafraid, or the version of me that does have faith, or the version of me that is my future self, what would she do? The more time you spend making decisions as her, even when you're on that other side of the pendulum swing, when it feels a bit low and icky and you can't even remember your future self sometimes, it helps to have people that can reflect that back to you. So even if you're in the low, you either don't make any decisions in that state because it's temporary. You don't want to make big, rash decisions from temporary circumstances or temporary emotions, because all emotions, Brené Brown says this, they have a beginning, a middle, and an ending. You're not stuck in it forever. So we don't want to go making decisions from that side of the pendulum swing. We want to wait for the up, because that's when we make our biggest, most progressive possibility thinking decisions. But when you do experience the low, if you can just say, what would my future self do? If I wasn't feeling in this state right now, what would my future self do? And then act accordingly from that place. But that takes practice. That takes practice, because you've got to know that you really are stepping into that higher self, that future self state when you are in the low. So more often than not, it can be in your best interest to just pause, take time. Don't judge yourself through the process. Allow the pendulum to be in that position, allow it to swing the other way, and you will come back up on the other side. But this is just part of the journey, and no one is immune from it, myself included. We're just humans. It's part of the process. So let's accept, let's enjoy, and let's learn.